Hello, and welcome to English Story Vault. If you are learning English, you've come to the right place. Let's enhance your English skills with a very compelling story. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's begin. A major problem erupted in the Middle East, marking a new era of turmoil in that region of the world. Two nations are in conflict, Israel and Iran. This fight has escalated into a very serious confrontation. Israel and Iran have launched aerial attacks against one another, utilizing airplanes and rockets. This direct military exchange is a new and significant development. The United States of America observed this conflict and decided to intervene on behalf of one country. The United States chose to support Israel. The current leader of the United States is President Donald Trump. President Trump affirmed his position, stating that the United States will stand with Israel. He declared that the United States is Israel's ally. To assist Israel, the U.S. has dispatched military assets. The U.S. government made the decision to send additional defense systems to the Middle East. These systems are designed to intercept rockets and other attacks. The U.S. Defense Secretary is Mr. Pete Hegseth, who serves in President Trump's administration. Mr. Hegseth announced that new defense resources had been sent. This deployment aims to protect the region and the U.S. soldiers stationed there. The United States also sent large tanker aircraft. These planes enable U.S. fighter jets to extend their flight range. A large naval vessel also moved into proximity of the area. America's goal is to help protect Israel. At the same time, America wants to safeguard its own military personnel in the Middle East. The United States is assisting Israel in stopping attacks, but it does not seek a direct conflict with Iran. However, the U.S. is prepared to defend itself and its allies. President Trump has commented on the conflict, calling Israel's actions effective. He stated that the United States was aware of Israel's operational plans. He issued a warning to Iran, insisting that Iran must not be allowed to acquire a nuclear weapon. This story will provide more detail about this major conflict. It will clarify why Israel and Iran are currently fighting. It will explain precisely what actions America took to aid Israel. You will learn what President Trump and other leaders have said. You will read a day-by-day account of the events as they happened. This is a complex situation. It is vital to understand the events unfolding in the Middle East. This story will help you learn about this. Critical time, too. Israel attacks Iran. Many years, the relationship between Israel and Iran has been fraught with difficulties, marked by a long history of tension and mistrust. For a long time, Israel has been deeply concerned about Iran's ambitions and activities. One of Israel's greatest worries was Iran's nuclear program. Israel held the strong conviction that Iran was secretly attempting to build nuclear weapons, extremely powerful and dangerous bombs far exceeding the strength of conventional weapons. Israel viewed Iran's pursuit of nuclear arms as a direct and grave threat to its national security and existence. They feared that if Iran obtained these bombs, it could use them to inflict catastrophic harm upon Israel. Israeli leaders also received intelligence, suggesting that Iran was planning an imminent attack on Israel. They believed an assault, similar to one that had harmed Israel previously, could occur suddenly. Driven by these two primary fears, threat of clandestine nuclear bombs and an impending attack, Israel made a momentous and difficult decision. They concluded they could no longer afford to wait. They believed the only course of action to protect their country and its people was to act first. This meant striking Iran before Iran could launch its own attack or complete the development of its feared nuclear weapons. Consequently, Israel prepared for a significant military operation. On June 12, 2025, Israel launched its attack. It was a large-scale airstrike involving numerous Israeli aircraft. The planes flew into Iran and bombed several key locations. These sites were carefully selected as they were deemed critical components of Iran's military infrastructure and clandestine programs. Targets included facilities directly linked to Iran's nuclear activities, which Israel believed were central to the development of secret bombs. They also struck important military installations, including bases, command centers, and sites where Iran stored its powerful missiles. Israel described this operation as a preemptive strike, signifying an attack initiated to prevent a greater future threat. Following the attack, Israel's leader, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, addressed the public and the international community. He explained the rationale behind Israel's action, stating clearly that the attack targeted Iran's nuclear facilities and key missile sites. He confirmed the strikes were specifically designed to halt Iran's progress toward developing nuclear weapons. He also noted that the attack had successfully eliminated several high-ranking Iranian military commanders. Prime Minister Netanyahu asserted that Israel's primary objective was to deny Iran nuclear capability and to shield Israel from Iran's dangerous ambitions. He characterized the operation as both necessary and successful. Israel believed this decisive action on June 12th was absolutely essential for its security and future. The attack signified a critical turning point in the persistent conflict between Israel and Iran. The world watched with apprehension to see how Iran would react to this direct assault on its territory. The situation in the Middle East grew far more tense and perilous. Iran fights back after Israel's attack. Iran retaliated swiftly and forcefully. It was a powerful response designed to strike back at Israel. On June 13th, Iran launched a massive barrage of weapons toward Israel, consisting of hundreds of missiles and drones. Drones are small, unmanned aircraft capable of carrying explosives. Missiles are fast-moving rockets that can travel great distances and are difficult to intercept. These hundreds of weapons traverse the distance from Iran to Israel, aimed at strategic locations and cities, including Tel Aviv. As the weapons neared Israel, loud air raid sirens blared, warning the population. People hurried to seek safety in shelters and reinforced rooms. The United States was prepared and assisted Israel. American soldiers were already stationed in the area with specialized defense systems, named Patriot and THAAD, designed to shoot down incoming rockets and missiles. These systems function as a protective shield in the sky. As the hundreds of missiles and drones from Iran approached, the American systems worked in coordination with Israel's own defenses. Together, they made a strenuous effort to intercept the incoming threats, successfully stopping a great many of the Iranian missiles and drones in mid-air. This action by the American military was crucial in protecting many people and buildings in Israel from being struck. However, it was still a perilous attack, and not every weapon was stopped. Some missiles penetrated the defenses and hit their targets in Israel. This resulted in damage where they landed. More tragically, the conflict led to injuries and deaths on both sides. Reports indicated that many people were hurt or killed in the attacks. Iranian officials reported that over 200 people died in their country, the majority being civilians, ordinary men, women, and children in urban areas. In Israel, people were also harmed and killed. Israeli officials stated that approximately 24 people died as a result of the Iranian attacks. It was a period of profound grief for families in both nations who lost loved ones or witnessed their injury. The conflict did not cease after Iran's initial major assault. For several days following June 13th, Iran continued to launch smaller-scale attacks, sending more missiles toward Israel. Israel also persisted with its own strikes on targets within Iran. The situation remained extremely dangerous, with fears that the fighting could escalate into a much larger war. People globally monitored the events with grave concern. The United States government remained in close contact with Israel, providing assistance. President Donald Trump's administration continued to support Israel with defensive aid and worked to protect American soldiers in the Middle East. The ongoing fighting underscored the severity of the problems between Iran and Israel and the dangers they posed. 4. America helps Israel. America made the decision to deploy additional aid to the Middle East after hostilities began between Israel and Iran. A parallel goal was to ensure the safety of American soldiers already stationed in the region. On Monday, June 16th, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth made a significant announcement. He informed the public that he had ordered more military assets, to be moved to the Middle East. Secretary Hegseth specified that this new assistance was defensive in nature, intended to fortify the U.S. military's posture and security in the region. He stated unequivocally that protecting U.S. forces was the highest priority. The United States dispatched several types of military hardware. They sent a large number of tanker aircraft. Over 30 of these planes, including KC-135 and KC-146 models, were sent eastward. These tankers are vital as they can refuel fighter jets and other aircraft mid-flight, allowing U.S. planes to operate for longer durations and over greater distances across the region. The U.S. also deployed a formidable warship, carrier USS Nimitz. Moving a carrier of this size toward the Middle East is a major strategic action, as these ships serve as mobile air bases for military aircraft. These movements of aircraft in the large ship were powerful signals. Prior to these new deployments, the United States military already maintained a substantial presence in the Middle East, including thousands of troops, warships, fighter jets, and missile defense systems. Some of these systems, like the Patriot and the DAG batteries, were already active in protecting Israel, helping to intercept some of the missiles and drones Iran had launched. America is aiding Israel by providing defensive support, with the U.S. focused on protecting Israel from Iranian attacks. The U.S. government, however, is carefully trying to avoid direct combat with Iran. The U.S. offers defensive assistance, such as shooting down missiles targeting Israel, but is not initiating attacks on Iran with its own forces. The primary objectives are to support Israel's defense and to protect American soldiers and military installations in the Middle East. U.S. officials have indicated that American forces would only initiate offensive actions, meaning direct attacks on Iran if Iran first attacks U.S. personnel or assets. President Donald Trump has demonstrated robust support for Israel. Sending more military aid is a tangible expression of this commitment. It also enhances the readiness of the U.S. military for any potential contingency. The U.S. seeks to prevent the conflict from escalating further. America's actions demonstrate its role as a dependable partner to Israel and its efforts to manage a dangerous situation in the Middle East. 5. The President speaks. President Donald Trump commented frequently on the conflict between Israel and Iran, using press conferences and social media platforms like Twitter to convey his messages. He expressed exceptionally strong support for Israel. On the day following Iran's attack on Israel, President Trump declared that the United States is Israel's #1 ally by far. He praised Israel's initial strikes on Iran as excellent and very successful. He also claimed that America was aware of Israel's plans beforehand. "Heads up, we knew everything," he remarked to a news channel, indicating his trust in Israel's intelligence and actions. President Trump also issued stern warnings to Iran, particularly regarding its nuclear ambitions. He posted on social media that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. On another occasion, he wrote that residents of Tehran should evacuate the city due to the existing threat. At the same time, President Trump mentioned the possibility of peace through negotiation. He stated that Iran should consent to a stringent deal with America and that talks could potentially occur even as the conflict was ongoing. However, not all U.S. leaders echoed the president's statements. For instance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the U.S. was not involved in Israel's initial attack, which contrasted with President Trump's claim that the U.S. knew everything. Other key figures in the U.S. administration held differing views. Vice President J.D. Vance stated that America should make every effort to avoid war with Iran. The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, expressed her belief that Iran was not actively developing a nuclear bomb at that moment. These varied opinions indicated a lack of complete consensus within the U.S. government on the president's public stance. Iran reacted with anger to President Trump's words and to America's assistance for Israel. Iran's foreign minister suggested that if President Trump was genuine about wanting peace talks, he should compel Israel to cease its attacks. He warned that Iran would continue to retaliate if Israel did not stop. Iran viewed the United States as Israel's primary backer and held America partially responsible for the conflict. President Trump affirmed that America would protect its soldiers in the Middle East and that the U.S. might engage in combat if its forces were attacked by Iran. He highlighted that American soldiers were already assisting Israel by intercepting Iranian missiles. Analysts of world events watched President Trump closely. They surmised that he aimed to provide unwavering support to Israel, while also seeking to prevent a large, protracted war for America. They believed he might leverage the crisis to pressure Iran into a new agreement concerning its nuclear program. President Trump appeared determined to ensure Israel felt secure before he would urge any cessation of its military actions. The U.S. demonstrated its support not only through the president's words, but also by sending more naval and air assets to the region. This sent a potent message to all parties that America stood firmly with Israel. President Trump's communications were clear: strong support for Israel and direct warnings to Iran. Even as the dangerous and complex situation prompted differing opinions on the best path forward within his own government. 6. Friends for a long time. America and Israel have been allies for many decades. This friendship is robust, particularly in military and defense matters. The United States provides substantial aid to Israel to support its defense, including financial assistance and advanced weaponry. This support has a long history. In a prior agreement, the U.S. committed to providing Israel with $38 billion in defense aid over a 10-year period. This funding has helped Israel procure critical defense systems and armaments. America has also facilitated Israel's acquisition of advanced fighter jets, such as the F-35 aircraft. The two nations collaborate extensively on missile defense, co-developing programs like the Arrow system. These systems are instrumental in helping Israel intercept rockets and missiles launched from other territories, which helps keep the people of Israel safe. President Donald Trump has consistently demonstrated very strong support for Israel. During his first presidential term, from 2017 to 2021, he made several major decisions favorable to Israel. He officially recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and subsequently relocated the American embassy there from Tel Aviv, a move of immense significance for Israel. President Trump also recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights and withdrew the United States from the Iran nuclear deal, which imposed new restrictions and challenges on Iran. These actions clearly signaled his position as a steadfast supporter of Israel now. As president again in 2025, his staunch support for Israel persists. He frequently speaks about protecting both America and its allies from threats such as missile attacks. In May 2025, shortly before the recent conflict began, President Trump discussed a major new initiative called the Golden Dome program. This plan is focused on creating an enhanced missile defense system for America. When speaking about the Golden Dome, President Trump displayed an image of Israel's Arrow 3 missile defense system, noting how effectively Israel uses it to stop missiles. This indicates that America observes and potentially learns from or collaborates with Israel on defense technology. American ships and soldiers have maintained a presence in the Middle East for many years, demonstrating America's commitment to defending Israel and preserving regional stability. The assistance America is providing to Israel during the current fighting is a continuation of this long history of close friendship and defensive cooperation. The United States is committed to Israel's safety and strength, the American government, and military work in close partnership with Israel's leaders and armed forces, sharing intelligence and conducting joint exercises. This enduring friendship is a key factor in understanding why America is helping Israel during this difficult period. President Trump has repeatedly stated that America is Israel's foremost friend and ally. The military aid, financial support, and collaboration on defense technology are all clear indicators of this strong, long-standing friendship and the promise America has made to Israel. 7. What happened day by day? This story outlines the daily events of the week when the fighting began. On Thursday, June 12th, a significant event occurred. Israel launched an attack on targets inside Iran, using aircraft for the assault. Israel stated they conducted this operation to prevent an attack from Iran